Every industry, every sector, heck, every company has its own jargon. And while terms and turns of phrase and acronyms can provide useful shorthand for those in the know, they can also make people feel clueless or like they're on the outside looking in. We often find ourselves asking clients and prospective clients to back up a bit and review terms before we can dive into the essence of their call or question. We recently posted about the difference between VC and private equity investors and had another chance to share the M&A dictionary with some callers since then. Thought we'd share this one too, since it's probably a little bit like that kid in class who has the courage to ask the question the rest of the class is pondering but afraid to ask. The questions have been around what's an independent or fundless sponsor, and since finance people tend to take poetic license with the English language, we thought we'd clarify. There are essentially two kinds of buyers that you'll meet if you're an entrepreneur selling your business. One will be strategic. That's a company that's in your industry, vertically integrated with your business or your sector or adjacent to it. Regardless, it's another operating company. It's not a fund or an investment firm. And then there are financial buyers, which are generally private equity firms or investment companies who invest in private companies on behalf of themselves and their limited partners. Now, most of those firms, especially those that have been around for a while, have a fund or capital available to buy companies like yours. They typically borrow some of the capital from banks or other lenders, use some of that fund capital I just mentioned, may even ask you to retain some equity in the business as well. Now, oftentimes successful founders get paid one time when they initially sell to these kinds of buyers, and then get a second bite of the apple when the company sells again. And these founders get paid for that retained equity, meaning the equity stake in the first round, gives them a chance to participate in subsequent liquidity events. So a fundless or independent sponsor is that second kind of buyer, a financial sponsor. But they don't have an existing fund to draw from for buyouts. And instead, they raise money for each deal independently from limited partners. Now, they use the same sources of additional financing, like banks and other lenders, and they'll often ask founders to retain or roll equity. But their primary source of capital is uncommitted. It needs to be raised with each new company they acquire. So if you're selling a company, your buyer, or type of buyer, will matter for several reasons, including risk to close. Like, do they have or can they raise the money? Track record of success. If you're retaining equity, will they generate high returns with your business? Reporting and additional meetings, like who's in charge? The sponsor or the larger limited partners? And a few other considerations, like what happens if additional capital needs to be invested during a slow time for the business? Who raises that? And does that impact you and the other limited partners? There's nothing inherently flawed with a fundless or independent sponsor model. And in fact, many of them are terrific investors and wonderful financial partners. But if you're a successful founder selling your business, you owe it to yourself, your employees, and your family to know the type and structure of buyer who will work best for your business and how to ensure that you leave your legacy in the right hands.